Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about my tips on independent study for medical billing and coding and what are some of the things that you can expect. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. All right, a few months ago, I put out a template of studies that you can do independently if you are wanting to study medical billing and coding on your own and then take the exam. Now, there are two major medical coding associations. There's the American Health Information Management Association and the American Academy of Professional Coders. Both of these have a credential that you can self-study for and pay the fee to take the exam. So with AHIMA, it is the Certified Coding Associate, that is the CCA. And with the American Academy of Professional Coders, it is the CPC, or the Certified Professional Coder. So you have your choice. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to go to a trade school. You don't even have to go to an online program. You can study on your own. Now, I did this as a sort of reference if you want to do this on your own. Certainly, if you feel like you need to go through a program, by all means, go through a program. But I always do say this. You never know what you're going to get with these programs. I always recommend that people do their research and find out what are you getting trained for. And as long as it is with either AHIMA or AAPC, then you should be fine. It is if they're training you for something that is not one of those two, then that's when I recommend that you look for another program, all right? That is just my little thing right there. That is just my opinion. I've been in the field for over 10 years. I know what employers are looking for, and if they're looking for medical coders, they're looking for them to be certified with AHIMA or AAPC. That being said, I am going to talk through my template that I did, and I'm going to leave it in the description box. So that way you can take your notes, or you can look in the description box of this video because it will be there. Okay, so let us begin. All right, so I start off by telling you guys, to start, you need to start gathering your books. And the books that I recommend come from Optum360 Coding. Now, this is a wonderful website with tons of really valuable books and information for medical coders specifically, okay? So I do list the titles of the books and which ones that I recommend. So I leave the website link for Optum360, and if you're interested in buying any books right now, the sale is still going on as far as my knowledge goes, as the taping of this video is today. I haven't been on there in a couple of days, but I'm pretty sure it's still going on. So if you're interested, please check the website. The last I checked, it was 60% off for the 2021 versions and 30% off for the 2022 versions. So that is just something to keep in mind. If you are looking to take your exam this year, obviously you want to go with the 2021 editions. If you are looking to study and take your exam next year, then you're looking at getting the 2022 editions. However, I do recommend that if you're going to sit with AHIMA or AAPC, you need to look at what year versions they are going to be looking for around the time that you are figuring to take your test. Okay, so just keep that in mind because you have to have the correct year version books when you go, okay? But I say just start there at Optum360. You can get your books anywhere, okay? You can go on Amazon, you can go on eBay, anywhere that they have these books. So I recommend that you get the ICD-10-CM Expert for Physicians. Some people like the other book. I prefer the Expert for Physicians from Optum. And then you have your current procedural terminology, professional edition. That is the one by the American Medical Association. That is the one that I recommend because that's the book you need to take your exam with. Whether you're taking an exam with AHIMA or AAPC, both of them require this exact book, the CPT Professional Edition by the AMA, all right? And then the other book is the HCPCS Level 2 book. And then if you are going to study for the inpatient side, because mostly it's outpatient, but on the CCA exam, it does cover some inpatient coding. So if you are looking to take the CCA exam, I would recommend that you get an ICD-10 PCS book as well, okay? And I recommend the Expert. But again, if you are going to study for something that requires the inpatient coding, then you would get that book. If you're not, then it's fine. You don't have to have that book, all right? You just need the ICD-10-CM, Expert for Physicians, the CPT manual, Professional Edition, and then the HCPCS Level 2, okay? And then step 1. So I break it down into the subject and then in the weeks that you should go. If you follow my template, it will take you an entire year. Now, before you think, wow, that's too long. Of course, if you've had experience before and you've had maybe a medical background, so you know your medical terminology, it is totally fine. This is totally whatever you want it to be. But for those that need a little structure, I put the weeks on there to kind of help guide you through those weird waters where, you know, you're like, how long do I study on this, or how long should I take? Okay, so I do leave the Amazon affiliate links that I have for the books that I recommend. Certainly you don't have to click on those links because I may get a commission if you do. So you don't have to. That's why I put the titles of the books that I recommend there, and then you can click on the link if you choose. If you want to go through somebody else to look for those books, that is totally fine. But medical terminology comes first. That is the start of your base foundation. The estimated time is 4 weeks, all right? I put medical terminology, a quick and easy reference book, basics of terminology, anatomy, and abbreviations. Work through the entire book. So the book that I recommend is a workbook. It's actually got like questions and everything, and you got to work through the entire book in order to say, okay, I've done medical terminology. And this one also covers anatomy and abbreviations. So it's quite comprehensive. That's why I recommend it. There's also, I recommend Dorland's Medical Dictionary. There's tons of really good medical dictionaries out there. I also like Tabor's. You don't have to get the latest book because certainly there has been some updates, but it's not so drastic that an older book is not going to help you, okay? A lot of those words are already in there. So if you choose to go with another one, that is totally fine. This is just what I recommend, all right? And then I said helpful websites for prefixes, suffixes, and root words. And I give you guys the exact website that I use. When it comes to learning medical terminology, you want to make sure that you're not trying to learn all the words, like the big words, that you're wanting to learn the prefixes, your suffixes, and your root words. This way you can know what each one of those is, so you can break them down and piece them together, so that way you can figure out more words and you don't have to try to like think about like, oh, what is this word? If you know your prefixes, suffixes, and root words, you're good to go. All right, the next step, step 2, is anatomy and physiology, pathophysiology, right? And the estimated time is 8 weeks. So I say about 2 months on this one. So the Essentials of Anatomy and Physiology 8th edition, it is available for rent, all right? But you work through the entire book, all right? So that is something that you guys, when you get these books, work through the books. Look however many chapters it is and break it down based on the time that I suggest. You, again, if you want to go faster, go faster. If you want to go slower, that's okay too. The point is that you're going to make some kind of movement. A lot of people kind of stop and they're like, I don't know if I want to do this. Should I do this? Should I not do this? And I've heard this and I've heard that. Guys, if you want to do it, go for it. And don't listen to anything else. Put on those blinders and get with it. Because is it difficult? Yes. Is it a lot to learn? Absolutely. But you can do anything that you set your mind to. And we all were there where we had a hard time in the beginning finding a job. I know I did. But I looked for 2 months and I finally had to go with a temporary agency. But that's another story. But I just want to kind of keep you guys motivated, because the more you focus on your studies, the better you get, the more successful you'll be in the real world. Okay, so moving right along, for anatomy and physiology, I recommend that book. I also recommend getting the Anatomy Quick Study flashcards. For those that like to have flashcards, flashcards are a really good thing to have, and you can do those in your spare time. If you're at work, you can do them on your break. You can look at them during your lunchtime. There's plenty of opportunity to do these things. And then there's an anatomy coloring book that I recommend. Now, when I was learning anatomy, having a coloring book really did help me, because it was engaging my mind and my body into an action. And so that was how I was able to, it's like, oh, I remember this and I remember this. So anatomy coloring books really do help. At least that's just my opinion. All right, and then the next step is healthcare reimbursement, HIPAA, and the OIG. Estimate time is 8 weeks, so another 2 months on that. Now, even if you don't plan on being a medical biller, right? If you don't want to do anything with billing, that's totally fine. I've been in the industry for over 10 years. I've never been a biller, but I do know things about billing. And when you're taking your exam, you are going to have to know things about reimbursement, billing, and HIPAA and the OIG. All really very important stuff. So I say principles of healthcare reimbursement. Again, it's available for rent, and it's cheaper that way. Work through the entire book, and then review all of the FAQs on the following websites: cms.gov, the reference for the Medicare Learning Network. Read it thoroughly, even though it will not make sense. And I'm going to say that again. Read it, even though it doesn't make sense. Read the FAQs, the frequently asked questions. And then there's one for the OIG, and then there's one for HIPAA. And I'm going to have to leave the link for the video that I recommend for HIPAA, because there is another YouTube video out about HIPAA that I recommend. And I think it's about an hour long, but it's really good to just sort of sit and listen to it, okay? Now, remember when I talked about those study tips for busy people? Guys, you can download this stuff and listen to it on your way to work, okay? And these are just things that you can do and fit into that little bit of time. I'm just saying, okay? And then the next step is step 4. That's when you're going to start working with ICD-10-CM. Estimated time is 12 weeks. All right, so you're going to read through the entire official ICD-10-CM coding guidelines once per week during this time. Now you might think, gosh, Blue, that's a lot of times. Yes, but if you're going the 12 weeks, then that will have meant that you will have read the official guidelines 12 times. Do you know how much further ahead you'll be by doing that? And one thing I want to say about that is this. A lot of people will say, well, Blue, this just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. You're not supposed to get it. You're going to get it and understand it when you're in the real world. The point is to get your mind used to reading a lot and reading complex stuff. But getting through that is going to progress you into a more well-developed medical coder, because you're going to know the guidelines. You may not understand what it means, and you may not really get what it's saying, but keep reading, because a lot of times people will allow that, just not getting it, to stop them. Okay, you've done all this studying, and now you're going to give it up because you don't understand 32 pages. In the ICD-10-CM book, it is 32 pages. If you go and get the one from CMS, because they have the updated guidelines on the website as well, it's like 100 plus pages, only because of the font size, guys. But don't let it scare you. It's 100 plus pages, only because it's like I said, the font is different. But these 32 pages is front and back, so it's like 64 pages in the book. But you can do that once per week, all right, while you're studying the ICD-10-CM. So it's progressively just a little bit more every single time. So read through the entire guidelines once per week, and then you're going to work through the entire book, all the chapters, all the quizzes until completed at the end. And it's called Basic ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS Coding 2021. Okay, so it's an entire workbook, and you're going to work right through it. That book is very detailed, it's very comprehensive, that it will help you if you work through it. All right. And then step 5 is the current procedural terminology, the CPT and HCPCS. Estimated time is 12 weeks. Read through the entire guidelines and notes throughout the CPT manual. Work through both of these 2 books. So there's Procedural Coding and Reimbursement for Physician Services 2020. There's probably a 2021 version out there, but I will have to get it and update it. If I don't update it, somebody remind me so I can update it. Anyway, and then Evaluation and Management Comprehensive Guide 2021 with Card Pack Bundle. Okay, and then there's the 2021 Evaluation and Management Coding Advisor by Optum 360. That is optional to get, but I'm telling you guys, that when you invest in these other books that to help you better understand things like E&M, and especially because of all the changes we went through with E&M, it's very helpful. Okay, so that's just something that I recommend for this. Helpful websites during this time. EM University, it has a free section to be able to help you learn evaluation and management. Okay, justcoding.com. Perhaps my most favorite additional website too, because it has a free subscription. And in this free subscription, you have access to coding quizzes. And there are 5-question coding quizzes, and they cover diagnosis coding, procedure coding, and inpatient coding. All right. And when you answer these 5 questions and then you hit submit, and then it'll tell you what the answer was if you got them all correct or not, or what the correct answer is if you got it wrong. So it's a very helpful website, and it's free. When you sign up for their free subscription, it is completely free. But it is a wonderful tool to help brand new coders or coders just starting out in the field, coding students. It is a wonderful thing to be able to access this website. And I recommend this site a lot to people. I don't know if people check it out or not, but I'm telling you guys, if you take the time and go over this stuff, it will help you. Some of the things that you can expect, and didn't take a pause here for a second. Some of the things that you can expect while you're studying independently is you're going to feel not motivated. You're going to be like, I'm not with other students. I don't have somebody to teach me. There are plenty of tutors out there. There's a lot of them on LinkedIn. I happen to be a tutor myself. I will leave my contact information in the description box below, along with my tutoring rates, which are very reasonable. And, if you want to do that, that is totally fine. If it's something that you don't quite understand and you just need somebody to explain it, investing in yourself by getting a tutor, it would really be a benefit to you, because then it won't be so confusing. All right. But again, there's not just me. There's other people on LinkedIn who do coding tutoring. So something else you can research and look into if you're interested. There's also mentors with the associations. If you're looking for a mentor, you can reach out to somebody in the association and see, or you can post on LinkedIn that you're looking for a mentor. I have seen so many coders requesting for mentors, and then you see a lot of people selflessly volunteer to do this, and that's wonderful, because to be in the profession that we're in and to lean out that helping hand to somebody who's brand new and agreeing to be like this mentor and answer questions and things like that, that's really amazing. So if you are finding a good mentor who is just volunteering their time to help you, be sure to thank them sincerely, because it does take a lot, and you want to be supportive and you want to be there for new people. And that's why I share a lot on my channel like I do, because, I know it's a lot and you're navigating these waters. And if you're navigating them by yourself, it's even more. So, but yes, if you're feeling like that, if you're feeling frustrated and down and thinking, gosh, I can't do this, what you think is how you're going to project that energy. And if you're already going to project defeated energy, that's what's going to come to you. Okay, I'm going to be defeated. I'm defeated. I can't get this. I can't get this. If you're feeling like that, stop. Reach out for help. And if you can't, try to look for references and resources that can help you to understand. And again, if all else fails, reach out and find a tutor. Somebody who can help you, somebody that you can get along with, that will help explain it in a way that is beneficial to you. All right. So the step 6, which is the next one, is the ICD-10 PCS. The inpatient coding can be concurrent with ICD-10 CM weeks. All right. So this is only if you are taking the CCS or the CIC. Carefully read those guidelines for ICD-10 PCS, and then I have the link for the ICD-10 PCS guidelines. Now, if you're also studying for the CCA, you'll also need to review this section as well, because again, it does cover some of the inpatient stuff. But the CCS is a very advanced credential. If you are self-studying for the CCS, it's because you've had experience or you have met the educational requirements. And the requirements are on the AHIMA website at ahima.org. And you can be able to check the CCS requirements to see if you qualify to take this exam. And if you do, then you can just follow the the recommended template that I have here if you meet the requirements, all right? Because there is a standard that they do have before you can sit for this, because the CCS is considered an advanced exam, and it's typically for those who have gone through a program or they have already had experience. So that is just something to know. And then finally, step 7, the certification exam prep. Estimated time is 2 to 4 weeks. Work through the entire exam prep book for your chosen certification exam. Time yourself and work on your speed. You can do this. So I put the one for the CCA practice exam book, the CCS practice exam book, and the CPC practice exam book. The CPC one has 300 questions. So that is something that that is a template, and that is how I am sort of like giving you guys guidance on like my own opinion and my own thing about like what you guys can do to study for this. One other thing that I probably need to add on there is something about pharmacology, but again, you can find references about that in your ICD-10-CN manual. So taking the time to go over the ICD-10-CN manual is really going to benefit you. And I know it's a lot of information and it is so much to go over. Trust me, I know. But you think about all the money you're going to be saving, okay, by not having to go through a program. And sometimes when people go through these programs, you know, some people it works out, you know, they have really good teachers, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes people feel like they were sold a dream, or sometimes people feel like they're being pushed through this program, like, because it's rapid fire, because you'll see that there are programs that are 16 weeks. Or there are 6 month programs too. And to me, that is entirely too fast to learn medical billing and coding, especially for somebody who does not have a background in medical at all. And if they say, well, you know, you can learn this when you're on the job. There are some things that you're going to learn on the job. But guys, this is something that you need to be prepared. When you walk in the door from Jump Street, you need to be prepared, right? And you need to be as prepared as you possibly can, even though you don't have any hands-on experience. But getting through the book, knowing how to navigate the book, knowing how to accurately apply codes, knowing how to accurately look up codes is going to help you tenfold. Now, I do have to plug my Patreon channel. I do have worksheets that I do on my Patreon channel. I do word searches and crossword puzzles. I also do coding quizzes. I do critical thinking quizzes. So there's lots of really good, helpful things for studying on my Patreon channel. If you're interested in that, that link will be in the description box below. So I hope that you'll check it out if you're interested. But yes, it's a lot, but medical coding is such a rewarding career, and that's my opinion. I mean, there's going to be people that don't like it, but there's people that don't like ice cream. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be just a difference of opinion, but how your attitude is going into something and how you feel facing a challenge is going to be all the difference. Because a lot of times people will think that this is going to be easy and it's going to be handed to them. It's not going to be easy, and it won't be handed to you. I'm just being honest. You have to work for it. You got to fight for it, because it's not going to be given to you. And, you know, when you're out there looking for a job, there's plenty of people who spend a lot of time looking for jobs. But there's so many things that go into why certain people are not getting jobs. You know, you have to be able to pass a background check, a drug screen. You have to be able to have a really good resume, and you have to be available for training and for things that you know that's going to help you to get into this field. And so, you know, there's just so many things. But if this is something that you want to do, you can do it. And I hope that you won't let anybody scare you into thinking that you can't do something when this is something maybe that you want to do. Okay. So by all means, please keep doing your research. But that whole thing is laid out right in front of you, all of the things that you should study. And when you look on the associations, it'll tell you what is covering on the exam, right? On AHIMA, it'll list all the domains. On AAPC, it does the same thing as well. It gives you an outline of what questions are, like, not questions, exact questions, but how many sections are on this test of whatever topic it is. So that is something that you can check out on the website. If you have specific questions about a certain association, go directly to the association website and they will be able to answer those questions a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. If this is the beginning part of your journey, welcome and get ready. It is the biggest challenge, but it is the best reward when you get what you want in this field. I'm going to wrap this one up. If you haven't already had a chance to subscribe, please. I am almost there at 10,000. I cannot believe it, guys. I'm so excited. So anyway, hit that like button. Share this video if it helped you, because it may help somebody else. I'm going to wrap this one up, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.